Okay, so don't say anything now in terms of your full name or anything like that. Okay, right, so as well as laser meanings, we're going to look at drawing together key quotations for cross-referencing, and we're also going to analyse the writer's choices. So basically what we've been doing all along, it's just this time you get to have a bit more of an interaction to it. All right, so in terms of I've split the poem into 3 sections. Like I said, if you've not managed to print the poem, obviously that's fine. You might just need to jot down the quotation before jotting down the annotation as well. So if you've just arrived, we're just starting, so don't worry, you've not missed anything. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at in the first line is this after the first phase. And if you remember, we talked about in last lesson about the title and how it suggests that she's hunting for a husband, she's trying to find him again. So this first quotation that you want to jot down is first phase, and it really does build on a title. It suggests that this is the first stage of a long, long journey, and that she's still got a long way to go to find a husband. So I thought I'd start off just by telling you an answer. So that's the first thing I'd like you to jot down. So first phase equals, and then the annotation there. I'll give you a second to do that. Okay. You can type slow down if I'm going too fast because I can't see the chat now. The next one then, it's over to you. I would like to know what you guys think. So the next key quotation is this word trace. So only after we talked last lesson, didn't we, about these passionate nights that they had, I won't go into that anymore, only then would he let me trace. So what do we think are connotations of this word trace? What would you think of if I asked you, what do you associate, or what do you think of when I say the word trace? What does it make you think of? Do you want to just jot some ideas down in the chat for me? Guys, can we please stop writing and scribbling on the PowerPoint? Otherwise, you're not going to be able to read what I've done. Ideally, whoever's done that, can you delete it, please? Thanks, Paul. So it suggests about evidence, like she's looking for evidence. That's really nice. Yes, she's looking for evidence of this frozen river across his face. What kind of movement is it to trace something? I was trying to think if you have traced anything. Do you still use tracing paper? Like, what kind of action do you have to take when you're using tracing paper? What kind of movement is it, do you think? Just type your ideas for me. Thank you for deleting the annotations. Really appreciate it. Yeah, it's almost like copying, yeah. As if she's running her fingers along the same lines that are on his face. It's quite an intimate image, isn't it? Okay, thanks guys, thanks for contribution there. So yeah, it is really nice, this idea that you she's copying what has happened to him. I really like that, and that she's looking for evidence of what's happened to him. The things I had were like it's a very gentle action and quite occurring action. So when you're using tracing paper in maths, it takes a lot of care and attention, doesn't it? Otherwise the tracing paper rips and it's really annoying. And to get it exactly right, it takes a lot of care and a gentle action. And yeah, exactly, Samantha, it's about following something, isn't it? So they're really nice. Actually, what you guys have said that I haven't is that it shows this connection she's trying to have with her husband. She's trying to trace it beautifully across his face, and she's following him, and she's trying to track him again. That's a really nice idea. Okay, so if I just give you, I'll pause now just so you can write that down. So the quotation is trace, and you can write down what I've put there on the PowerPoint, but also what you guys have come up with as well.
Let's be right now.
Okay, Right, I'll move on to the next one. The next one then, remember, type slow down if I'm going too fast, is this it's the first kind of core image of the poem. So she's tracing, and this is the reason I keep stroking my own cheek, she's tracing the frozen river, which is running through his face. So my next question for you is, oh, sorry. Oh, no, I forgot about this bit, sorry. Before we move on to that bit, can you find any other quotations just in this part of the poem that we can link to the word trace? So are there any other phrases in this section which you think have got similar connotations or similar ideas behind them as trace? There's two more. I'm going to type, yeah, well done, well done, Sam, super quick. Yes, exploring. There's very similar connotations there, aren't there, that she's exploring him as well as tracing him. And then there's one more. Yes, handle. And I would go even further, Ian. Well done. I'd say handle and hold. Yeah, well done, brilliant. So we've got explore and handle and hold. I would also link to those quotations. So this is where we're cross-referencing. We're bringing in other quotations that link to this one, and we're kind of going to group them together. So can you write down those two as additional quotations that link to trace? What I do want to highlight here is that we want to make sure when we're writing up our analysis that we don't just say that trace, explore and handle and hold all suggest the same thing, because they don't. They're very different words, aren't they? They're very conscious choices that Armitage has made to say something slightly different, but we can see, can't we, that actually there's a clear link between those words, that they are, even though they're not exactly the same, they are similar. Yeah. I don't think explore has the gentleness of trace. You can explore something in a rough way, can't you? You don't have to be gentle and tracing it. But again, handle and hold suggests something very gentle, doesn't it? And that she's taking care. It's almost like the way you the way you'd treat a newborn baby, isn't it? You'd be handling and holding them very carefully. Okay, so just make sure you've got those two quotations down. And now, finally, we are on the frozen river. Okay, so we're going to stay with this one for a little while, because this is one of the really important images that if you were analysing this and you didn't talk about the frozen river, then you'd be missing out a very key part of the poem. Oh yeah, really nice. Well done, Ian. Yeah, exactly. She's holding him like he's porcelain, because he is, isn't he? And well done for correcting his spelling. Very good. Exactly. And that is it, isn't it? He's very delicate, something you have to be really careful over. Brilliant. Well done. Okay, so the frozen river, what choices Armitage made here in terms of, I'm asking you two questions really. Firstly, what technique is he used? And also, what is the frozen river symbolising? Do you think what is it actually representing? So can you have a go at those two questions for me in the chat? So what is the frozen river, and what kind of technique is he using? Good. Yeah, ice is definitely fragile, isn't it? And yes, well done, Samantha. It's a metaphor. Brilliant. So the first thing you can write down the quotation frozen river. These are my posh inverted commas, so frozen river, and then it is a metaphor. Fantastic. What is? I'm going to come back to your comment, Paul, because you've jumped ahead a little bit there, but brilliant. I'm going to use that in a second. In terms of, what is the frozen river? What do you think is on his face that looks like a frozen river? What is the frozen river being used as a metaphor for? Oh, that's nice, a tear. Oh, that's so lovely. Oh, really good. Do you know what? It is his scar, but I actually love tears more. I wish it was a tear. I think Armitage missed a trick there. He's a rubbish poet, we've decided based on this. No, he's not really. He's a brilliant poet. But yeah, do you know what? Can you just write down tears as well? Because I actually think that's a really beautiful idea, that he's kind of these tears that he's having are freezing over because he can't handle his emotions. I think that's a really beautiful interpretation. So please write that down, because that's brilliant. I think the more literal idea is that it is a scar from obviously from the mine exploding and from the bullets, and obviously just his wounds. So these are what we're talking about with layers of meaning. So we can say that it's his scar, but we could also say perhaps it's his tears that are freezing over because he can't express himself, he can't kind of handle his emotions, and it's coming out as anger, etc. Oh, brilliant, guys. That's really lovely. This is why it was worth doing a Zoom, because I wouldn't have said that in a PowerPoint. Okay, so the key thing you need to, I've said he's used the metaphor of a frozen river for a scar, but please add on about the tears as well. Okay, my next question is, what are the connotations? And so, Paul, this is where you've jumped ahead, so we're going to come back to you now. So, you know, what are the connotations of a frozen river? What do we associate with a frozen river? And these are the questions you need to be asking yourself for every quote you pick out, really, when you're analysing your poems. So, what does that suggest about the scar? So, brilliant, Paul. Ice is very fragile, isn't it? And it is easy. It's very easy to chip away. Have you been using ice cubes? Not today because it's too cold. The weather has gone. The nice weather's gone. So we've got fragile ice, brilliant, as a starting point. Can anyone think of any more connotations of a frozen river? What do we associate with a frozen river? Try and think of it in a bit of a scientific way as well. Oh, that's nice, Paul. But 1 second, I'm just admitting someone. Yeah, brilliant. So yeah, that idea of the blood you'd see on the surface of fragile skin is really nice. Yeah, lovely. Glaciers, yeah, that idea of something being very cold, and I think, yeah, cold, brilliant, James and Samantha. I think, Oscar, what your point has made me think is this idea of something being still. Because I know glaciers do move, don't they, but very, very slowly, like imperceptibly, you couldn't see them moving. And I think that is that idea, isn't it, that if something's frozen, it can't grow and it can't move. So can we jot that down, because that's really nice, and really nice idea, that Eddie's kind of frozen in time, isn't he? And he can't move or develop. Now, brilliant, Sam. Glaciers can collapse, can't they? And sadly, collapsing too much in our current world. In terms of the man, then, what does that suggest? If glaciers can collapse and therefore a frozen river can, what might that suggest about his emotions or himself as a person? Fragile is brilliant. Yeah, it does suggest he's fragile. Guys, make sure you're writing down people's ideas because they're really good. Isolated is lovely. Yeah, like like his wife can't necessarily reach him. Yeah, by himself. Brilliant, James. Yeah, that's really nice. Oh, insecure is nice as well. Yeah, like he's, like I know feels back. We could think about that, couldn't we? Yeah, he's sensitive. That's a good joke. So these ideas of being sensitive and I think remind me of Mal or an old real afraid. And he probably is, isn't he? He's having flashbacks and he's feel like he's still in a war zone. He will freeze in fright. So they're really brilliant. Well done. Oh no. Is it better now? I've moved myself. Okay. Do you want to mammal? Mammals. I'm trying to turn up my volume. No, I don't want to sound like a robot. Okay, testing. Oh no, sorry. As long as you can hear me though, even though I sound like a robot. Thanks, Sophie. All right, I'll keep going, but keep talking to me if you can't hear me at all. So back to this idea of a frozen river. The only thing that I would say that we haven't got is this idea that a frozen river can melt. So I think it was Sam, you came quite close because you talked about the glacier melting and being being able to melt eventually. So that symbolizes Eddie's personality as well. This idea that he's frozen. Brilliant. Yeah, the PTSD, that idea of freezing up and protecting himself. Fantastic. Well done, Fran. And thank you. So it's almost like he's rigid and he can't be himself anymore. He's frozen up. But actually, don't forget to say, loving the love from Sophie, don't forget to say that frozen things can melt. There is hope that things will get back to normal. Okay, so if you jot that down for me. Fran, stay focused on the frozen river. But it's very kind of you to ask after the dog. It's a good name for a dog. Okay, guys, there's one more section for this page. So, and that is cross-referencing. So obviously here, because we've got this frozen river, and it's the central metaphor of this first part of the poem, so this is a key quotation that you'll always analyse if you get this poem. There are other quotations on this page that also highlight the damage done to the soldier. So I think it's just two. So can anyone suggest for me what are the two other quotations that highlight the damage done? So just question 5 off the PowerPoint. So what are the two other quotations which highlight the damage done to the soldier? Oh. Yeah, well done. Blown hinge is one of them. Is the sound any better now? Yeah, brilliant. Well done, guys. We've got them. So yeah, we've got the blown hinge of his lower jaw. Try to just zoom into the specific damage done. So blown hinge is the damage there. And then in the last line, brilliant, we've got that damaged porcelain collarbone. Fantastic. Okay. I've lost track of why people are saying no. Is the sound still bad? Okay. Make sure you've got those two quotations down. So blown hinge and damaged porcelain. Okay, slightly. Right, I'm going to finish this slide and then I'll see if I can do anything in terms of, I wonder if not screen sharing will help. The last question then that I wanted to look at now was the adjective porcelain. Now, Ian has already mentioned that, hasn't he, about porcelain and how that suggests it's very delicate and linked to trace. So what's really highlighted here then? So is there anything we can add? So what else do we associate with the adjective porcelain? What does it suggest about him or his collarbone? Yeah, fragile is the key word. Yeah, and as someone who broke a collarbone once by just tripping over a rope on a summer fair, it is very easy to break a collarbone. But obviously, bones we associate with being quite firm, don't we, and sturdy. So the idea that he's got this porcelain collarbone now, it's not only that he's fragile; it's as if just a small knock can put him off course. Yeah, like if something's that fragile and delicate, then actually what's going to happen is the minute that he is affected or something happens to him, or maybe he just goes somewhere that reminds him of the like flashes him back to what happens to him, he could easily fall apart. Yeah. So key notes for that. Well done. Yeah, I'll explain about that in a second, Billy. Thank you. Well, so key things to write down are exactly what Isabel said: fragile, and what Ian said before, delicate. And this idea that it suggests that his moods and emotions are very delicate, fragile, can change any second. Yeah, that makes sense, Ian, doesn't it? I've done loads of Zooms with meetings and I've never had any problems. Sometimes I just have to get closer, but I don't feel I can get any closer. Okay, what I'll say then is while you're just jotting that down, the meeting time, because I've not paid for a subscription to Zoom, I only get 40-minute meetings. So what's going to happen is in about 10 minutes, the meeting will cut off. And what I'll need you to do is just rejoin. So you just need to re-click on the link and I'll get everybody back in. I was thinking of just making it a 40-minute lesson, but I don't think we'll get through everything. So if you can rejoin the link when it goes off, and we'll all come back together. But I'll let you know, it'll keep counting down for me. Okay. Right, we're going to move on to the next slide then. Please write slow down if you want me to stay on this slide. No. Oh, I didn't know that, Sophie. Okay, I'm slowing down. Sophie, if you want to type for me what I can do to make it stay on, let me know. I've been having meetings where I've made everybody rejoin after 40 minutes. Oh, yay, Billy. Yeah, I've set up loads of Zooms. Originally, Zoom are being really kind and letting people have unlimited meetings, but now they're saying it has to be 40 minutes. I think they want us to pay. Oh right, I see what you're saying, Sam. No, I've done quite a lot with unlimited minutes, so I don't think they'll give me that. James, yeah, I'm going to leave this on this slide for a second, okay? I wonder if he's paid or she has paid, Sophie. Don't know. Okay, I'll just leave this slide up for about 30 seconds and then I'll move on to the next one. Anyone got any questions? Have you caught up? Okay, I'm going to move on. If you do feel like you've not got all of this down, remember there's a recording and I will send it round to you. And you can catch up that way. Oh no, my cat's waiting for me to let him in and he's meowing at me. It's really sad. He's got a cat flap. I'll have to leave him. Oh, poor cat. Okay, right. So this is the second part of the poem then. Obviously this bit's a bit longer. What I'd like us to do first of all, oh Sophie, you definitely are having the cart short straw. I'll tell you what, thanks Ian. I'll just introduce his question and I'll run and let him in while you type in your answers. So we're linking back to Trace again. Oh, it's all right, he's gone to his cat flap. We're linking back to Trace again from the first section. If he jumps up at me, I'll let you see him. And we're looking for more quotations from this section of the poem that link to Trace. So can you have a go for me? Type into the chat what other quotations link to the quotation of Trace. It's okay, don't worry. I'm not in school, James, I'm at home. Hiya Jake, welcome. We're just on the second part of the poem, so you can catch up on the recording what you've missed, but if you just start off annotating where we're up to now. I know. My cat's not going to come over, he's too busy pretending there's something to hunt in the house. Okay, come on guys, give me some quotations. What links to Trace? Scan, oh right, scan's an interesting one because in this one, scan sometimes would if it was a verb, you know, like to scan something. Like, you know, when we talk about reading skills, don't we have scanning? Yeah. So actually in this situation, we've got I picture the scan, so it's a noun and it's the name of the scan. You know, like when you go for an x-ray and they call it a scan, that's what it means in this case. So we wouldn't in this case link scan to Trace, but if it was a verb, we would. So well done. Right, brilliant. It's got some good ones coming in now. So feel, yep, mind, skirting along, brilliant. There's some more near the top as well. Oh, that's nice. Oh, well done, Leah. That's really deep idea. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, there's that thin line, which is similar to Trace. Fantastic. Very nice. Anything else? Say there's two more key ones. Oh, maybe even three. Oh, four. Bind. Well done, Amelia. Yep, guys, make sure that you're writing these down. Okay, I'll go through them. I think we've missed the first one, which is mind and attend. So essentially what we're underlining here are all the actions that the wife has taken. So she's traced on the first page, has it on the first section of the poem, and we had those other two quotations that we highlighted there, explore, etc. Yeah, well done. Definitely a parachute silk wouldn't work. But now we've got even more actions that the wife has taken. We've got mind and attend, which again suggests a very gentle process, doesn't it? We've got finger and thumb. We've got binding, she's binding. We've got climbing, so she climbs the rungs. Okay, thanks Ian. We've got feeling. Gabby, welcome. We're just in the middle of annotating the second part of the poem, so we just going in where we're up to, and then you can catch up on the recording with the first bit. All right.
Okay, sorry I'm late. I've only just got up.
Don't worry. Oh, that's a good lie-in. I wish I had a good lie-in. You can catch up on the recording. Thanks for joining us now anyway. Okay, and then we've also got skirting along, and that's the last one. So make sure you've got those quotations down as a kind of group of quotations that you can analyze together. They all work together to do something that we're going to talk about in a minute, and you can link it back to Trace, etc. Okay. That was quick, Ian. Okay, guys, there's only 2 minutes left on the meeting time. So, Gabby, this is annoying for you because it's going to throw you out now. You have to join again. So, I'm going to leave question 2 until we're all back on. So, just jot down those quotations. I'm going to end the meeting, and then if you can just re-click on the link for me, please, and we'll get another 40 minutes. But obviously, I'll make sure we're finished after an hour. Okay? Has anyone got any questions or confusions before we go? So, you're just clicking back on the link to come back into the chat, into the Zoom. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna end it. Okay, please come back. I'll see you in a minute. Thank you. Yeah, same link, Sam. Bye.